Hello, everybody. This is Snyder on Sports. Welcome to the podcast, the sports podcast for everyone. Thanks for making it. If you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to Snyder on Sports. Give me a like. Please give me some comments. Give me some feedback. That's what I really need to improve this for all of us. I have a passion for sports, and I want to bring that passion to everyone. So let's get started. I've got a lot of topics I want to cover tonight. So first off, we are going to give you a Tyronn Lue update out of Cleveland. After that, a couple big trends I've noticed developing in the National Basketball Association over the last few years. Then we're going to cover what I consider to be the biggest myth in the NBA. From there, we're going to have a few thoughts on Draymond Green, and we'll do a little post-game wrap-up of the much-anticipated, long-awaited battle between those two Western Division giants, the San Antonio Spurs and the Golden State Warriors. So, let's get started. Tyronn Lue. We're going to have a little update on him, how things are going in the post-David Blatt Cleveland Cavaliers universe. So, if you heard a couple of my other podcasts, I've mentioned it a little bit. I talked a little bit about when they made the coaching change. But I believe in moving forward. I think we've heard enough about David Blatt and what happened and didn't happen and who made it happen. So what I want to focus on right now is Tyronn Lue. Like I said before, he has a good pedigree, 10 years in the league as a player, played under Phil Jackson, won a couple championships with the Lakers, coached under Doc Rivers, Celtics and Clippers. So I was really excited, when he got the job. He got some young blood, some fresh ideas, hopefully, and he has not disappointed. A lot of people probably thought, hey, he's buddies with LeBron. He's just going to be LeBron's yes man, but I don't see that happening now. Today, Tyronn Lue came out and let everybody know that his players on the Cleveland Cavaliers are not in shape to run his style of basketball. So that was kind of music to my ears, because I do think the style that they've been playing was not going to be winning. So what he has instituted is a much faster paced style of play, much more up tempo. Like I said, he basically came out and said, you know what? You guys need to get in shape because we are going to be running. And got a little tweet out of LeBron, kind of a supporting tweet that LeBron was there at 7 in the morning working out, trying to get himself in shape. And I'll tell you what, I've said before, if you can get the leader on your team to buy into what we're doing, the rest of the team's going to follow. And especially there, LeBron is obviously an extremely strong personality on that team. And I think everybody else got the message. If LeBron's getting his butt out of bed at 7 a.m. on a game day to work out to get in better shape, well, y'all better be doing the same. Or David Blatt isn't going to be the only one changing zip codes. So that's great to see. He talked a little about it in a press conference today. Tyronn did. He wants to see LeBron and Kyrie Irving run longer times on the court. He wants to try using Kevin Love as part of the second unit. Okay, I think he kind of recognizes that to make this all work, he's got to maximize what he can get out of Kevin Love. And Kevin Love is not an up-tempo player. I don't know if he ever would be, no matter how good a shape he's in. His game does not fit that. He's a high-post elbow kind of player, and that's exactly where Tyronn Lue wants to use him. His plan is, like I said, he wants to institute this up-tempo pace. Those players better be getting in shape. He kind of called people out there, so he wants to get LeBron to buy in, which I think he has. That's great. And, LeBron's going to hold the other people accountable. It's simple as that. So Kyrie and LeBron can look forward to longer rotations, longer stints in the ball game. And then he wants to use Kevin Love as part of that second unit, kind of be the leader, I think, of that second unit. And I think in a weird way that's going to work, because if you look at Kevin Love's career with Minnesota, he was the guy. He was the man. He was the go-to guy, and now in a kind of weird way, he can be play that same role, but with the second unit, raise their level of play, but under his style of play, which isn't really that up tempo. I think Tyronn Lue kind of wants to use that as a kind of contrast, and you know what? He's trying something new, and that's what he's got to do, because what they're doing right now, you might be able to win the Eastern Conference with it, but you are not going to win a championship with the way they're playing, the way they did play under David Blatt. So, yeah, good luck to him. Good luck to the Cavaliers. I'm really looking forward to seeing the change. He got his first win tonight, and I wish him and the Cavaliers many more, because if the more great teams we have in the NBA, the more fun it's going to be for us, the fans. So I'll keep you posted on how Ty Lue's doing in Cavalierville, and like I said, I hope they really turn it around and make themselves a force to be reckoned with. So, moving on from there, let's talk about what I consider to be a couple big trends in the NBA that have been kind of developing over the last few years. Okay, first off, I think you saw it tonight actually. Greg Popovich decided to rest his star player. If he does have a star, they're kind of all stars, but he decided to rest him for. He was looking at the long-term future. He wanted to make sure that someone like Tim Duncan, who is not getting any younger, is going to be as fresh as possible come playoff time. And it'd be real easy, the media, the fans build up this January game between the Warriors and the Spurs. It'd be real easy to, say, hey, I know you're hurting a little bit, Timmy, but I need you in there. But I like the fact that someone like Popovich, one of the leading coaches in the league, is able to have the courage to say, look, this is January. We're more concerned with May and June. That's when you win championships. And if I run my 39-year-old center into the ground in January, he's not going to be there for me come May. So he does that a lot. He's been famous for that. He's taken a lot of flack for it over the last few years. I think he was even fined once by David Stern when he held some star players out because he felt he wasn't making it a competitive game. Whatever. I think David Stern just got his feelings hurt. But I like that trend. You see that trend of resting players, minimizing their minutes. In the old NBA, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, your star players played most of them probably, I would say, about close to 40 minutes a game. And in an 82-game schedule, that is really going to add up. They're like cars. You can only put so many miles on that car before it starts to break down. And the trend I've seen over the last few years, I think, has been spearheaded by Popovich in San Antonio. You see it in Golden State with Steve Kerr and Luke Walton this year and last, where your significant players, your big three, whatever you want to call them, they're going to get significant rest. So they're maybe average, instead of 40 minutes a game, they're closer to maybe 32, 34 minutes a game. And you structure that, you put a lot more work into your second unit to make them effective, and it works. It really works. If you look at Golden State last year, they were relatively injury-free going into the playoffs, and that made a huge difference. You saw other teams, notably the Cavaliers. LeBron played a ton of minutes last year. And as great as he is, as much of a beast that he is, he was worn down by the end of the year. He was giving it his all, but the tank was running empty. And I think that made a big difference in the finals last year. You saw a LeBron that was maybe not as fresh as he should have been. And they really didn't have a lot of choice. They had a lot of injuries, a lot of other things figured into that. But I think that's a trend that you're seeing more and more in the league, that coaches around the league are going to start resting their star players with an eye towards the long term, towards the big picture, that they're going to be more important to you come playoff time than they are in January or February. So I think that's a real plus, a real positive move for the league. You're gonna see more quality minutes out of those starters. Another big trend that I also see out of this, along with the reduced minutes, you also have seen, I think, probably over the last, again, 3 to 5 years, much more of an emphasis on ball movement, on flow, on spacing, on pace, up tempo pace, what I like to call the beautiful style of basketball. And you see that again. Some of the leaders in that, the Golden State Warriors, San Antonio Spurs, several other teams in the league, you're starting to see that be the style of play. I mean, you had it, I think, way back. If you look, there were some teams that were doing it many, many years ago, but the league in the late 80s into the 90s kind of fell into this very structured half-court offense, a lot of one-on-one stuff, a lot of, isolation style of basketball. And I don't know, I don't think it did the league any good at all. You had some star players that maybe took advantage of that. You'd clear out a side and they'd go one-on-one. But after a while, that got kind of old. Even when LeBron first came up with the Cavaliers, his first go-around, you saw that a lot. They'd clear out a side, LeBron be up at the top of the key, and then he'd charge toward the basket, make an amazing play most of the time. But man, there was no flow, there was no continuity, a lot more foul calls. The flow of the game was just interrupted, and I think the brand of basketball that teams like San Antonio and Golden State are bringing back to the league is really going to be beneficial, very beneficial, because fans like to see offense. They like to see an up-tempo pace. They like to see a lot of scoring. But, hand in hand with that is strong defense. Plays into that as well, and it just makes for a very, I think, smooth and, like I said, beautiful style of play in the league. And I'm happy to see that, because the isolation one-on-one, clear out a side and let one guy try to score, that got to be snoozeville after a while. I hate to say it, as much as it was fun to watch players like Jordan and LeBron, Kobe do that kind of thing. After a while, it gets old. You want to see up and down. You want to see flow. You want to see ball movement. And I'm really happy that that's one of the trends that I see coming into this league right now. Now, another one, let's move on to what I think right now is without a doubt the biggest myth in the NBA. And I don't know if anyone can guess what I'm going to be talking about, but let's just say Charles Barkley had a lot to do with this. For the last few years, as the Golden State Warriors have improved to the level where they won the championship last year and having an amazing season this year, you heard over and over from Chuck, you know what? They're all right, but they're just a jump shooting team. They just shoot three-pointers. He used to get on his little soapbox and let us all know how no team that's a bunch of three-point shooters, jump shooters, is ever going to win a championship in this league. Well, I think in a way, he's right. But the problem is that he perceives a team like Golden State in the wrong way. They are not just a bunch of jump shooters. They are not a three-point shooting team, although they do use that is part of their repertoire. But he's right. No team that just does that is ever going to win a championship. But you got to understand that the Warriors are so much more than a bunch of jump shooters. Their whole style of play is based on good defense, ball movement, proper spacing, making that extra pass. You hear the term, the guy had a good shot, but he passed to his teammate who had a great shot. That's the kind of stuff you see, that extra pass, that ball movement where it's just zipping around. 3, 4, 5 guys touch it, and then they finally get an opening and they make a basket, and it's great. So to me, the myth that the Golden State Warriors are a bunch of jump shooters and all they do is shoot 3-pointers, not true. But in a way, it kind of plays to their favor because as long as people keep thinking that, they're going to be surprised because, like I said, they're really based on strong defense, strong team defense, great passing, great ball movement. You know, that they don't care who gets the credit. That's the thing. They don't care who gets that shot as long as the shot goes down. And that's great. That's the kind of basketball, like I said, that this league needs. We don't need a bunch of isolation and dribble drive to the basket, clear out a side. That's boring. That is boring stuff. You watch them play now, and it's just a treat. It's a treat to watch them play because they do so much. And at some point, I'm sure Chuck, our friend Charles Barkley, will admit to this grudgingly. Maybe if they win another championship, who knows? But we'll see. That's Chuck's problem, not ours. So that, to me, is the biggest myth in the NBA. Let me just make a couple comments about Draymond Green out there on the Golden State Warriors. I'm just going to throw it out there. I truly believe that Draymond Green is this generation's Magic Johnson. Okay, and I can hear the people jumping up and down and screaming and saying, "You are out of your freaking mind." Draymond Green, Magic Johnson, how dare you even mention them in the same sentence? And you know what? Again, it's kind of a perception around the league that when Draymond came into the league, yeah, he was a second round draft pick. Wasn't meant to be more than maybe a second unit guy. Energy guy that was going to get some rebounds, dive for some loose balls, and kind of be there for garbage time. And to his credit, he could have looked around and said, "Okay, I'm going to do all right. I can do this," but he chose instead to improve himself. And over the course of the last 2 years, the improvements that he has made in his game are absolutely astounding. He has become an excellent rebounder. He's become an excellent above average passer. Good on the fast break. Great on defense. That's where his whole base is. He plays that in your face defense, and it generates so much. It generates fast breaks. It generates turnovers, and that's where his value lies. I mean, if you look, I'm saying he's this generation's Magic Johnson. Well, if you stop to think about it, they're very similar players. Other than the fact that Magic Johnson was a star coming into the league, he was a star in college. Draymond was a solid contributor at Michigan State, but he was never a star. He wasn't like the guy. But you look at him, Magic Johnson, 6'9". Draymond Green, 6'7". They're able to dribble, great ball handling skills. I think, obviously, as good a passer as Draymond is right now, you'd still have to give an edge to Magic in his passing. He was pretty remarkable, but Draymond is closing that gap rapidly. He is playing at a level now that he wasn't even playing at the end of last year. He's upped his game this year. So I'd give the slight edge to Magic in the passing game. As far as rebounding, I would probably give it to Draymond at this point. Great rebounder, great offensive rebounder. Really, he puts himself in position against larger players, boxes out, and gets the rebound. So I would give him the edge in rebounding. Now, defense, I got to give the edge to Draymond. His defense has become so locked down that He creates so much, but he's not a numbers guy. If you look at the game tonight, I think he had scored 11 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. Not a real impressive line, kind of middle of the road, but all the other stuff, all the passing, all the turnovers he created, what he did with the rebounds after he got them, got the break going, he just ignites that team. As much as Steph Curry is the MVP and the best player on that team, Draymond Green is the heartbeat of that team. He gets everything going, and it's incredible to watch. If you watched him tonight, he took on the defensive assignment of LaMarcus Aldridge. Okay, Draymond's 6'7". LaMarcus Aldridge is 6'11". Draymond's given away probably at least 50 pounds, and he shut LaMarcus Aldridge down tonight. It was incredible, and it just the metamorphosis of his game over the last couple years is just, like I said, it's astounding. He's going to a level now. He didn't get that starting spot on the All-Star team, but he is an All-Star. He is an All-Star level player, and it's the craziest part is I think he's going to get even better, and man, it's going to be so much fun to watch. All right then. So I've given you a Ty Lue update, given you a couple big trends I see in the NBA. I've dispelled the biggest myth in the NBA for you. I've given you a few thoughts on Draymond Green for you to chew on. Like I said, I know there's people out there that are going, you are nuts. You're mentioning Draymond Green in the same sentence as Magic Johnson, but time will tell, won't it? Time will tell who's right and who's wrong. So I want to go on to my main subject of the night. Now that we're a little warmed up, much anticipated matchup between the San Antonio Spurs and the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, last year, Golden State won the title, but of course, what did they hear? Well, who did you beat? You didn't have to face the Clippers. You didn't have to face San Antonio. And that is true, but you're only able to play the teams that are put in front of you. So going into this year, of course, in the finals, need I forget, you faced Cleveland Cavaliers without Kyrie Irving and without Kevin Love, and that would have made a huge difference. Well, we found out week ago, 10 days ago, that didn't make a whole lot of difference. But anyway, those are the comments that you would hear around the league as to why Golden State won. I call them excuses, but anyway. So going into this game, it was going to be a real hard-fought game. You're going to see maybe whether Golden State truly matched up with the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs, perennial playoff contenders. I think it's something crazy like 25 of the last 26 years they've been in the playoffs. That's crazy. That's continuity. That's, in a way, kind of a dynasty. But and they've beaten the Warriors like a drum over the years. I think it's been 32 games in a row that the Warriors have lost to the Spurs in San Antonio. I mean, that's a couple lifetimes in the NBA. 32 games. So, coming into this game, you had the defending champions are off to an amazing start, but San Antonio is off to an amazing start on there as well. As good as Golden State's record is this year, San Antonio going into this game was only 2 games behind them, and they had a point differential that was better than the Warriors. The Warriors have been outscoring their opponents by a little over 12 points a game this year. San Antonio has been outscoring their opponents by an even more amazing 14 points a game. So going into the game, San Antonio is the number 1 defense in the league. So a lot of people were saying, well, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we're going to find out what the Warriors are made of. So myself, along with a lot of other, I'm sure, NBA fans, were looking forward to a great matchup. And, well, for the first half, we all got that good matchup, I think. The more Warriors maintained a 10 to 15 point lead most of the first half, but it was extremely competitive. Up and down, beautiful basketball to watch, like I said. A lot of ball movement, passing, up tempo, great defense on both sides, and it was really fun to watch. So up to halftime, I think it was still anybody's game. I think San Antonio was still in a position to close the gap and maybe pull out a victory against them. So coming out of halftime, the Golden State Warriors ran the Spurs out of that building. By the end of the third quarter, they were up by 29 points. Okay? Just they took it to another level. Curry took it to another level. Draymond did. Everybody on that team. It was amazing to watch. It was. You had a team in the San Antonio Spurs. Like I said, we're the number one defense in the league. They averaged giving up. They only gave up 89 points a game throughout this season, making them the number one defense in the league. The Warriors, at the end of the third quarter, had 95 and were up by 29. So some people are going to say, yeah, that's kind of disappointing. They kind of blew them out. And it's true. It's just one game. It's January. You got a lot of games left. There's going to be a rematch in a little while here. The Warriors go into the Spurs home arena. That should be a really good one, because then Golden State has the opportunity to put to bed one of the biggest ghosts they have, and that's 32 straight losses to San Antonio in San Antonio. So, yeah, at the end of the third quarter, 29 points up is pretty much more or less garbage time after that. But, and like I said, it's just one game. I don't think it's an epic victory by any stretch. It was one game. They won that game. There's a lot more games to go, but you did see some stuff, and you did learn some stuff, and stuff that we can take forward and look forward to the next time they play. I think they are obviously, even as badly as the Warriors beat them tonight, they are obviously the best two teams in the league, without a doubt. They're head and shoulders above the rest of the league. And some of the things that you can take away from this game, these teams are extremely deep. They have amazing depth. Their second units play like most teams' first units. And throughout the first half, it was fun to watch when the second units were in there. Man, it was still some balling going on out there. I would say that first half, you got a sniff of playoff level basketball, because both teams were going for it. And like I said, it struck me just how deep both teams are. Obviously tonight, the Warriors got the better of them, but man, both units, like I said, they're as exciting to watch as the first units. You see a lot of NBA games now, and you watch them. You want to see OKC or the Clippers or Cavaliers or the Bulls, something like that, and they have a really strong first unit, but when the second unit comes out, it's like, wow, a little bit of a drop off there, fellas. But you don't see that between these two teams. Their second units are so talented, and I think it comes from the expectation level that the coaching staffs have for both of these teams. They don't think of them as second units. It's just your turn to be playing. First unit, second unit, they mix and match. It really doesn't matter. It's you're out there, and you better be giving it 110%, or somebody else is going to be coming in and you're going to be grabbing some pine. So that's one of the things that really struck me, especially I think you have to kind of look at the first half, and that's kind of the valid part of the game. up through the third quarter when the Warriors just put the pedal to the metal and blew them out. But that first half, very competitive. You saw a lot of, like I said before, great ball movement, great defense, playoff intensity. It was just a treat to watch. There was a stretch there where you're going, man, now that's NBA basketball right there. That's what I pay my money to see. That's what I like to see. And man, it's going to be a treat when I hope and pray that in this year's playoffs they do meet up. It probably will happen. Man, it's got to, because man, in a series with those two coaches, all the strategy involved, all the great team play, it's really going to be amazing. I can't wait to see that in the playoffs. So that's where I'm at as far as the teams competing in the first half. You know, some stuff that you saw, things that they're going to have to address, I think, especially on the San Antonio side. Let's be honest. Steph Curry is an alien, okay? There's no other way to describe that guy. Anything from 30 feet in is his range. Not just like, oh, I'm lofting it up. No, I'm shooting with the intent that this is going to go in, okay? He went for 37 points tonight in 29 minutes. Once again, he sat out the entire fourth quarter. I think this is like the 12th game this year where he sat out the entire fourth quarter. Just, he's on another level. If he has not solidified the fact that he's the MVP of this league, that he is the best player in this league, I don't know what else he has to do. He's a leader. He's a great shooter, good defender, great passer, ball handler. No one can match him. He's amazing, and he's so much fun to watch. And the funny part of it is you kind of get lulled into, he's kind of an undersized player, He doesn't have a lot of standout physical attributes, You don't look at him and go, wow, look at that guy. But there's a fire in the belly with that guy. You saw it tonight. There was a play where he actually drove to the basket, made the layup, got fouled, and he really showed some of the fire afterwards, pumping his fist and saying, come on, let's go, let's go. He was ready to rock and roll, and that's what a lot of people kind of get lulled to sleep by, Oh, he's just out there shooting threes, running around, making some passes, but that guy's got the heart of a champion, and he will go toe-to-toe with whoever he's got to make his team win. And it's just such a treat. It's a treat to watch these kinds of games. Like I said, especially the first half when they're more or less going at it, playing fairly evenly. It's games like this and the upcoming games where they're going to play in San Antonio, and hopefully the games they're going to play in the playoffs this year, where we really just have to treasure the moments that we're seeing. I don't know when the next time we're going to see a player like Steph Curry, or a team like the Golden State Warriors, or a team like the San Antonio Spurs, and the way they match up with each other. It's a brand of basketball that I hope really spreads throughout the league, because they just so entertaining. It's so much fun to watch. They're playing at such a high level that it really needs to be seen as much as possible and to be treasured, that we get this opportunity to see these players play at this level. Again, I think sky's the limit for Curry. Really, really excited to see how much better Draymond can get. He's made improvements in his game over the last couple of years that are just indescribable from where he started out. And then you got those second units that are playing out of their minds, playing like they're the first unit. So again, this was like a little teaser, a little taste of what hopefully playoff basketball is going to be like between these two teams. And like I said, we're in for a treat, and hang on, it's going to be a wild, wild ride. So that's about all I got for tonight. Kind of an NBA flavor tonight. But I hope everyone enjoyed what I had to say. Please send me some comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me if I'm out of my mind, if I think Draymond Green is as good as Magic Johnson, or anything else you want to comment on. Like me, subscribe to Snyder on Sports, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Take care, and God bless.